let us recall the times when we started riding a bicycle, right? So somebody came up to help us. Maybe they were our siblings or maybe parents, but somebody came up to help us ride a bicycle. Now, as we graduated further, we moved on to riding bikes, two-wheelers, and again we had to undergo some kind of training, right? And when we moved on to the four-wheelers, again a new kind of training was provided to us. Fine. But what happened during that training and what was the outcome? So, here we come to the concept of training, right? But what is the outcome of training? It is learning. So, when I learned how to ride a bicycle, there was somebody who helped me do it. And we say that, of course, a trainer is required to acquire a new skill set. So that was something that was new to us and somebody was helping us. So there are some points, there's a trainer involved, there's a schedule, some kind of schedule has been put up for that matter. Maybe we allocated say half an hour for this activity. And then we say it was something that we actually learned out of it. So what is happening here is learning is an outcome of any training, and it so happens that training is something that is scheduled, some trainer is there, and of course it helps us in building a new skill set. Now when I moved on further, I found that this learning is actually ingrained in the back of my mind. I do not forget it. So even after a number of years, if I have to ride a bicycle, I know how to do it. And that is, maybe I'll call it instinct, I know how to just do it. Again, it so happens that, okay, fine, if somebody says, okay, fine, you have to do some cycling, we automatically do it. Nobody has to tell us how to do it. So learning is something that is lifelong. In fact, of course, as long as we remember, right? Okay, but then it is like a long life experience that we have as far as learning is concerned. So outcome of training is learning, and hence training and learning are two different things. And learning is, of course, lifelong. So as long as we are there, we are alive, we are learning something. Now, training is usually a little structured in nature, while learning can be unstructured. So a trainer provides a certain format in which it is done. They plan it, while in fact for the learning part, it is highly unstructured. I can learn from my trainer, I can learn from observing other people around. So there are a number of ways of doing that. And it so happens that since I learned bicycle for the first time, I was trained. I learned bike for the first time, I was trained. And then there were some new features added to it, but then there was no formal training for it. It is known as development. So when I moved on to the four-wheeler after a bike, I found that again I needed some training. Of course, I had a little sense of space around me. So a two-wheeler requires less space, I can feel it. But the moment I move on to the four-wheelers, the spatial experience is different. So when I move, I have to remember, I have to feel it that this is the space I'm occupying on the road, right? So some kind of development is happening from a two-wheeler to a four-wheeler, though the training is also there. The skill set is a little different. New technology is being used. So it so happens that we say, okay, fine, we have some training, we have learning out of it, and then we have the development based on it. So maybe after four-wheeler you want to ride a bus, a truck, so you will have more idea of the space that is there, because more or less the control systems are quite similar. There might be some differential additions or deletions to the control systems that you have handled in the past. Now it so happens that how do I ascertain that learning is happening? So we should always feel and go ahead with some testing for it. So say for example, you got a license, right? So you were trained to drive and you were tested for your understanding, and hence a license was given. So a test helps in learning process because it makes you go back to your concepts. Otherwise it's just attending a training. You have not learned if you have not been able to apply it in the coming times. Again, we say that some kind of reproduction is also necessary to apply in the coming times. So it says that fine, we need some kind of platform, some kind of systems which help us in continuous learning. And hence this concept of online platforms being used for training and learning have become quite handy, because see, some people learn faster than others. So it depends on the skill set that we are talking about. So all of us are looking at our own pace. And hence, online platforms have become a different kind of a system where people learn on a continuum basis. You can go back on it and again do the same process. So hopefully we understand the difference between training and learning and development. And of course, we should start taking some quizzes that are attached to these videos as well. Looking forward to your comments in the chat box. Happy learning.